What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. You can call me Sleuth. All right. So I hope you have the next 2 hours of your calendar cleared, because I know mine is. Let's start at the top here. True Crime Talk with Frank Meister. What's up? GP, how you doing? Welcome to members, Danny. Ricky. Jamie, how you doing? Jill, good to see you. True Crime Fangirl. Lynn, hello. Wanda, good to see you. Beth, Caricature. Freckles. Chopper, good to see you, my friend.
Get to the chopper!
Obligatory. Doris. BN. Safe travels. Merry Christmas to you. Camaro, hello. No FX, good to see you. Feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Elisa. Deb, True Crime Notebook, great channel. Go check her out. Welcome. Eminem, Merry Christmas. My guy Phil. CJK. Nedra, how are you? Tattoo. Missing Unsolved Crime. Welcome in, guys. Good to see you, Chopper. Hope you and the fam are good. Nana, hello. Chorizo, what up? Peruvian, good to see you, my friend. Merry Christmas. And welcome in Becky Murray. Hey. All right, guys. Well, today we're going to look into the Carlie Brucia case. I've always looked to that case when I was covering the Delphi case. I think that you can probably find some insight into the killer, if that's Richard Allen in that case. Not only with the creepy security footage, kind of gives us an idea of what might have happened on that bridge when you look into Carlie's case. So from that case, we'll transition over to John and Michelle Stevens. John Joseph Stevens and Michelle Karen Mishcon, often referred to as John and Michelle Stevens. Very gruesome case. We'll go from that case into Lauren Heike. That's more of a recent case, and here in Phoenix, where I'm from. That case always reminded me of the Rachel Morin case. So I think we'll touch on that. Maybe we can gain some insight from the Lauren Heike case, the same way we did with Delphi with the Carlie Brucia case. And then we're going to transition from those cases into the Golden State Killer. We're going to watch a very long interview with Paul Holes and how they were able to use technology to finally ID and convict the Golden State Killer. From there, we'll look at fingerprint technology and how it's been helping to solve cold cases, hair analysis and forensic science, modus operandi, signature, staging, and posing, and then some new findings that I was able to find here recently about the Delphi case. So we will start with the Carlie Brucia case. We'll be looking at an article here by Neil Patmore, edited by Jacqueline Anglis, published December of 2022. So this will kind of serve as a case overview. Feliz Navidad. Gracias. Espero año. Felicidad. Sarah. Holla. Sitting in the ortho. Another shoulder issue. Ooh. A lot of times, what I've learned is if you're having issues on your shoulder, it has to do with your neck. Because I recently had a decompression. It was amazing. Because one thing is I'm losing all this weight, almost 50 pounds now. So my body's starting to straighten out. It's causing some back pain. Hey, what's up, Timmy? This one's titled The Tragedy of Carlie Brucia, the 11-year-old who was abducted from a car wash in broad daylight. Hey, what's up, Farmer? How's your day going, buddy? How's the weather today? How's the traffic? Good to see you, Robin. Yikes. Well, I hope she's having a successful recovery and adapting. What's up, Boston? Farmer, that sounds great. I am compressed. Yeah, highly recommended. CJK, that's what they are wondering, Sleuth. It could be my neck versus my shoulder. Yeah, I mean, my whole arm was messed up, but it always felt like a tendon that kind of ran down my arm and wrapped around my elbow because the pain would move. But as soon as I decompressed my neck, it all went away. So it's kind of like the source is probably your neck. I'm no expert. Don't go breaking your neck listening to me. Patricia Warner, 50 pounds. Good for you. Yep. Morning walk, the occasional exercise, but mostly it was my diet. Diet change and morning walk will do wonders for you. Farmer says, just woke up. Weather is good, sunny and nice. Good. All right, let's dive into this. We're going to kind of stop and go. We're not in any rush today. We got plenty of time. It's been a while since I've had some time to just sit here with you guys. What's going on, Jamie? How you doing? Shadow? You are not late. Usually we take about 10 minutes before every live stream. So if you don't like this little 10-minute BS small talk session, you can always just click over to the 10-minute mark. Good. Cancer-free. Good. Congratulations. Shadowbox, I just had acupuncture. I've never done that before. How was it? Cupping and massage. Is that where they do the heat cups? We see that like on the back of MMA fighters and boxers who get that treatment. How was it? I'm always down for the spa. You know, I love a good deep tissue massage. Hey, what's up, Lisa? Walking is a great healthy choice. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's good therapy too. Good chance to talk with your significant other as well. This is the show in the hallway before the show. Yeah, we're backstage right now. They're still checking IDs. I think there was a fight in the parking lot, so we're a little delayed. That's funny. True crime and other stuff. How you doing? Welcome. Missing and unsolved crime. Acupuncture is very effective. Cured my back problems. I've always been interested. I just don't understand how that works. It must do something to like your subconscious muscle memory, like some kind of a release or something. I don't know, because there's some people who will lose a limb, and it still feels like that very limb is like clutching or very tense, even though it's missing completely. Sometimes they need like some kind of a visual therapy to trick them out of it using mirrors and stuff like that. Your twinsy, who's that? Sounds like fun. I'm at 42 pounds, not easy. Yeah, I mean, Halloween, I gained like 7 pounds. I ate like a whole bag of candy. I was just like, ooh, I'm like, I'm going to eat this whole damn bag. But in 2 days, it would 7 pounds is what that bag cost me. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. Just pure carbs and sugar. Shadowbox says the therapist explained cupping as reverse massage. Instead of pressing down, you're pulling tissue away from the muscle. I have mega hickeys on my back. Yeah, those little round circles. You can just tell everybody you're training for a fight. To watch from the treadmill. Yeah. We need to get a new one. I would like a nice treadmill. A nice new one. All right. In February of 2004, Carlie Brucia was kidnapped from a Florida car wash a mile from her house and found dead just a few days later in a field behind a church. On the evening of February 1st, 2004, an 11-year-old girl named Carlie Brucia was abducted in Sarasota, Florida, while walking 1 mile from her friend's house to her own home. She was found dead in a field by a church 5 days later in a crime that sent shockwaves throughout her community. This is her tragic story. That's Carlie there. Rest her soul. So I think her killer has a lot in common with whoever killed Abby and Libby in the Delphi case. Carlie Jane Brucia was born on March 16th, 1992. By 1993, her mother and father had divorced. With Brucia visiting her Long Island family during the summer and winter school breaks, Brucia was living with her mother Susan Shorepin and her stepfather in Sarasota when the unthinkable happened on that February evening. Brucia had been sleeping over at a friend's house and was headed home to watch the Super Bowl that evening. It was around 6:15 p.m. when she began her 1 mile walk back to her house. Her friend's mother, Connie Arnold, had called Brucia's mother to check that it was okay for her to walk. And Shortman replied that she did not want Brucia walking along the busy Bee Ridge Road. She consequently sent her husband to pick her up, but he never found her. Brucia's parents called 911 around 7:30 p.m., and police initiated a large-scale search for Brucia as the unbearable hours ticked by. Then around midday the following day, police bloodhounds tracking Brucia's scent came upon Evie's car wash at 4735 B Ridge Road. Bloodhounds, huh? You don't see that too often. The dogs tracked the scent behind the car wash before it suddenly vanished. Footage taken from the car wash motion sensor camera showed a man in a mechanic's uniform leading Brucia by the arm at 6:21 p.m. the previous evening. Police rewound the tape and saw a yellow Buick driving into the parking lot 3 minutes before her recorded abduction. According to the New York Times, the footage was immediately released to the media and an Amber Alert was issued for Brucia. But it would be to no avail. Though Brucia's abductor was quickly identified from the footage as a local mechanic named Joseph Peter Smith, it was already too late for Brucia. We'll pause there for a moment. True Crime says, I met somebody who got hypnotized to quit smoking and it worked. Yeah, when I was younger, I dated somebody that got hypnotized. Apparently, it's not that hard. We're probably all hypnotized one way or the other. Mass hypnosis. Farmer. I got hypnotized and I started smoking. Yeah, Brucia was only 11. And this is why we do what we do. I mean, I don't know if we could ever see anything like this coming. I don't even know if this guy, Joseph Peter Smith, I mean, did he even see it coming? Like, I mean, you got to be completely somewhere vile and repulsive to be able to even consider that, right? And you're driving along, he's still in his work uniform. What is going on in this guy's head where he cannot control himself? He's going to destroy her life, everybody who's connected to her, and his own. What is going on in this man's head to cause him to do that? How does that happen? How do you prevent it? Okay, Julianne says, I remember this case well. My sister has a home in Sarasota, and we were there when it happened. Oh, wow. I bet it was all over the news. I mean, it just sucks you can't trust to let your kid walk a mile down the street. I mean, I remember when we were young, growing up in like the middle of a big city, there was a couple times, there were some incidents, but I felt like it was almost like a game where we were like dodging predators and it was really strange. Like we were followed a few times. We just always stayed in a large group. Now it doesn't even matter if you have a friend with you. I mean, look what happened to Abby and Libby. Oh, sorry to hear that, Nana. Name if you're a Richard Allen is innocent troll trying to dox me. My whole life story is on my shit show YouTube channel. Right? I think these weird doxer types don't realize how much they're projecting. They're really just predators. They feel helpless. They don't realize how manic they are and how mentally ill they are. I mean, you have to be to get all upset about something that's going on online and attacking people personally. It's a mental health issue. The morbid discovery of Carlie Brucia's body. Police eventually received Smith's address, and authorities learned that the suspect was actually on parole for drug offenses. The previous year, Smith had violated parole twice, but authorities decided not to remand him. Well, that proved to be fatal. Police searched Smith's rented room and found mechanic uniforms in his closet, but no other evidence tying him to Brucia. When officers found a drug paraphernalia in his car, Smith was taken into custody for a parole violation. Joseph Smith's brother, John, was then shown the CCTV footage, and he agreed to help the FBI to get a confession from him. If it's him, John cautioned, you won't get it out of him. And yet on February 5th, Smith called his brother John, who was then able to take FBI agents and a local officer to the Central Church of Christ and directed them to a nearby field 2.8 miles from the site of Brucia's abduction. While at the church, John received another call from his brother, who described the location of Brucia's body. In a field behind the church, 11-year-old Carlie Brucia was found lying on her back, a deep ligature mark prominent on her neck. She was naked below her waist, apart from a sock on her right foot, with her right leg outstretched and her left leg curled underneath. So that sounds very familiar. During that phone call, Smith had admitted that he had rough sex with Brucia before strangling her. And that's a picture of this person. You know, kind of like this normal looking dude, like Richard Allen, you know, just somebody you would see walking in the background. The Sarasota County medical examiner determined that Carlie Brucia had been strangled from behind, and abrasions on the side of her body indicated that she had been dragged to her final resting place. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to this part. For those of you who are looking into the Delphi case, so they talked a little bit about the crime scene with her right leg outstretched and her left leg curled underneath, right? Just like Abby Williams, who was one of the victims in the Delphi case. Now, if you read this part here, the abrasions on the side of her body indicated that she had been dragged to her final resting place. So it's indicative of the Delphi crime scene, indicative of being dragged. You know, I think that has a lot to do with why her elbows were out too when it comes to the Delphi case. A semen sample was found on her shirt, matched Joseph Smith's DNA profile, and 2 of Brucia's head hairs were recovered from the yellow station wagon he had borrowed, with 7 fibers matching the red shirt that Brucia was wearing. Smith had disposed of Brucia's backpack and clothing in different trash bins, as reported by CNN. All of this evidence was enough to charge Smith with Brucia's abduction and murder. Convicted on all charges, Smith was sentenced to death on March 15, 2006. In 2018, Smith's sentence was commuted to life, but then was reinstated to a death sentence in April 2020. However, Smith died on death row of unknown circumstances on July 26, 2021. The police have also suspected Smith in the unsolved murder of Tara Riley, whose naked body was found in a retention pond behind a Walmart in Bradenton, Florida in 2000. Bruce's horrifying death did incite legal action. However, in 2004, a bill named Carlie's Law was proposed, which amended existing laws to toughen parole rules for sex offenders. The bill, however, failed to pass Congress and appears to have been abandoned. What's up, Frank? Hey, Cheeks, good to see you. How you doing? Longboat Key, Julianne. No, I haven't. Cheek says, pretty tragic case. Glad they got him. He died a few years ago, I believe. Yeah, he did die. What's going on, Charlotte? No Effects says, I have quit smoking, drinking, and other highly addictive substances, but man, have I been struggling with sugar lately. Yeah, that's the toughest one and probably the most deadly. Drinking was easy for me. Probably never stopped smoking pot. I mean, it just levels me out too much. And I'll have a six pack every once in a while, but I can't drink hard alcohol. Last time I drank hard alcohol, like I just forgot what was going on. Can't do that anymore. Ricky Robinson says it's a compulsion. I mean, where does it come from? I mean, is it something that he could have stopped? Very tragic. Better late than never. Okay, let's go to the video. So this is the surveillance footage that captured the abduction. And just like that, she's gone forever. Right? Just like the bridge guy. I mean, this is probably identical to what happened. Probably grabbed one of the girls. Definitely feeds into the lone wolf theory. You know, some creep who lost his self-control. And there is no explanation. And I think he showed her something in his pocket. Maybe it could have been like a fake badge or something. I can't remember if that was ever ID'd. But yeah, he shows her something there, puts it back. A mile from her home. So this guy must have seen her walking, began stalking her, pulled into this area, probably familiar with it, knowing that he could ambush her. And she's thinking right here, like, why is this guy walking towards me? I'm just going to go around him. How weird. And then before she knows it, off to a secondary location. The only chance you have here is to fight. At this moment here, you're eye gouging, you're biting, you're kicking, you're screaming, you're kneeing. I mean, take the guy's nose if you have to. Bite it right off. You cannot leave here. Okay, so we read about John's, or excuse me, was it, what was his first name? Hold on. Joseph Peter Smith. Joseph Smith. So his brother is John, sorry. So Joseph's brother John testified against him and was able to coerce him to confess. Well, not coerce, but was able to get him to confess. So this is the brother here. So this was always confusing to me. I always thought this could cause maybe like a mistrial or get him off for the crime. I mean, they let their number one witness go and smoke crack in the middle of the court case. You know, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how that would affect the trial or his testimony. But I just found that very strange that they would allow him, and then also not only, they would hold his hand while he's doing it. Very strange. Sorry to hear that, Cheeks. I'm glad you're feeling better. I agree. Okay, I think I have a part two of that. It's only 45 seconds, though. So he's kind of a mess, and he's blaming all of that on his brother. And I can see that. If something like this happened to, like a really close family member, I don't know. I think it could have a similar effect. I think people deal with things differently. Another victim. What's up, Brad? I don't think it's the fact that he doesn't understand. I just don't think he cares. I don't think these he's looking at the world through a different set of eyes, through a killer's eyes. And that's why these killers like to reach out to other killers. That's why you have recently the smiley or the happy face killer reaching out to Rex Heuermann, you know, helping each other. And his daughters even started to go fund me for Rex Heuermann's wife. Now, the reason they communicate, and I also think that Koberger may have been reaching out to the BTK. That might have been what led to some recent updates finding those trophies buried. But I feel like these guys are reaching out to one another because they know only another serial killer will understand the cold blooded life that they live. Just murder is always an option. The only reason they know that murder is bad is because they see how we respond to it. They don't think that it's bad. They just see us reacting to it as if it's bad. So they're smart enough to hide that. Okay. So I guess you can't go around, hurting and killing animals and killing people. I don't understand it, but I know that if I ever get caught doing that, I'm going to prison for a long time. It has nothing to do with how they feel spiritually, morally, nothing. It means nothing to them. It is always an option. Here's a little bit on Carlie's Law, because in that article they made it seem like it didn't get passed. So let me read here. It says here, Carlie's Law was a bill introduced in the United States Congress by Representative Katherine Harris, Republican, out of Florida, with the support of Nick Lamson, Democrat from Texas, and Marsha Blackburn, Republican, out of Tennessee, in response to the kidnapping, rape, and murder of 11-year-old Carlie Brucia by Joseph P. Smith in Florida in February 2004. Smith was on probation at the time of Brucia's murder, having been released from state prison 13 months prior. The amendment to existing law was intended to toughen parole rules for sex offenders and also notify non-custodial parents when there is criminal activity near their child's home. See, I like that. Partly for this reason, Joseph Brucia, the child's father, approved making the law in her name, although the concedes this law would not have applied to her specific case since the charges for which Smith was on probation were not the sexual offenses the law would target. I don't know. Maybe well, I guess you couldn't tie them together because not everybody who's out here with drug offenses would ever be charged with like a sexual offense, you know? So that's a difficult case there. I mean, it's like, how would it even help in this situation? Maybe just, I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand how you could prevent something like this. The dude was still wearing his work clothes. He didn't plan this. He didn't target her. It's like he was possessed by the devil. Why now he's in prison. His brother is a drug addict. His family, Carlie's family, is completely in shambles. I mean, what was he thinking? All right, guys, we're going to catch up on chat, and I think we're going to go into our next case here once we catch up. If you guys have any lingering questions or anything you would like to add to Carlie's case discussion, but we will soon be discussing the case of John Joseph Stevens and Michelle Karen Mishcon. This case is often referred to John and Michelle Stevens, the case of John and Michelle Stevens. No effects. Sleuth, what are some positive diet changes you made? Need some ideas, and you are inspiring me. Um, I always have breakfast. Eat what you want for breakfast. Lots of water constantly throughout the day. Just drink water. And then snacks. So before you eat lunch, if you feel like you're getting a little bit hungry, like have a healthy snack. Carrots, something with low sodium, low sugar. I've been eating a lot of hummus. It's a good little snack. You can dip anything in it. I don't eat a lot of red meat, but that was because of my cholesterol, but it's been helping. I eat a lot of turkey and chicken. But really just snacking. And when we go grocery shopping, it's just whatever's in the home is just healthy selections, It's all healthy. And then a quick walk in the morning. I love my walks. Without it, my whole day is kind of shot. And I don't drink really. I think last Thursday I had a 6-pack. That's a lot of calories right there. What's up, Sensei? Wackadoodle. Got something for you, Sensei.
We do not train to be merciful here. Mercy is for the weak. Here, on the street, in competition.
Sensei says, I wonder if it's a compulsion of sexual drive and power. Obviously turns them on. But is the kill part of it or more of the way to try not to get caught? Yeah, it's almost like discarding of trash. When you get, let's say you go to like a fast food restaurant, you eat your food and then you throw the wrapper out. I mean, this guy didn't even look at her as a person. It's like when he drove past her, he was like, I can't wrap my head around it. It drives me nuts. What was he seeing through his eyes? When he looked at that poor young girl, it's like he didn't even see a person. Now, you tell me how you see somebody like that coming, right? Has anybody figured that out yet? Yep. You never go to the secondary location, right? It's a fight for your life at that point. And how many times have we looked at these cases where people are being ambushed? Wait, are you saying I have no audio? Hold on. No, I guess I'm good. I'm not sure. Hey, what's up, Grunge? Are you talking like the government? People declaring wars like it's nothing? Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Yeah, if it's cold, that sucks. Because my wife doesn't like to go when it's really hot in the summertime. She doesn't have the melanin that I do. She's not she's not a child of the sun. CT Fletcher. I'll check it out. Okay, where should we start here? Here I got a couple photos of this couple. Beautiful couple. I mean, this is one of the it's got to be one of the tragedies of that century here. Suntanned and happy. That's how all Americans should be. Damn, check that out. Is that a mahi mahi? How awesome is that? Here, let's start with this article. A 19-year-old student fatally stabbed a couple in their garage in Florida Monday night and was biting the dead man's face when officers subdued him, authorities said Tuesday. Police believe Florida State University student Austin Harroff attacked the couple at random shortly before 9:20 p.m. using weapons of opportunity and also wounded a neighbor who attempted to intervene. Martin County Sheriff William Snyder told reporters at a press conference. The sheriff's office responded to the home in Tequista after a neighbor called 911 and a deputy found Harroff on top of a male victim's body in the driveway, biting off pieces of his victim's face, Snyder said. It's inexplicable, Snyder said. One of the first things we try to do at a crime scene is try to understand the motive of the offender, because it is the motive of the offender that gets us going in the right direction. In this case, we can't establish a motive. And that's another thing, guys. There's not always a motive. When mental health is involved and sometimes when drugs are involved, sometimes people are just out of their mind. And this guy actually was successful going down the insanity road. He actually was institutionalized and not sentenced to prison, which upset the family somewhat, understandably. What's up, Taco? Not much, just talking true crime, trying to make sense of it all. I think it was something. I think it may have even been like he drank bleach or something. I can't remember. But I don't think this was a byproduct of him drinking the bleach. I think him drinking the bleach was just part of an extension of what happened, or the beginning of what happened. This was just an extension of that. You guys can't hear that? Who can hear it? If you can hear that, hit yes. No? Well, I know you can't, Taco. Trying to see if it's a you problem or a us problem. Okay, so it's confirmed. Let me stop sharing and then reshare and see if that helps. Did you guys have sound on any of the other videos? I hope so.
Tonight, we're hearing from a close friend of John and Michelle Stevens, angered that their
Later, chorizo. All right, could you guys hear that? Thanks, Clocks. With any of the video clips? Oh my God. What about the previous ones that we were watching? Nobody told me. Tattoo said no. So you guys couldn't hear any of the videos that we've been playing. That sucks. Why didn't you tell me? You're just watching the screen at a blank screen? Oh, let me see. I mean, We just watched 4 videos. So you guys didn't hear John Smith talking about how he was smoking crack? Oh my God. You guys even paying attention? Wow, that's awful. Well, technically we didn't. Well, I'm looking up here. No, nobody said anything. Anything I like says, I can hear you. Yeah, there's nothing. Oh, wait, here's one from Cheeks. There's no sound when you're playing the clips. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go back. I want you guys to see something.
Thing that I messed up with in that Carlie Brucia trial was which truck I was driving. Remember, I was petrified to go to testimony to trial. I had been up for days on drugs, and for some reason, I said when I don't forget who we were to Bruce said what vehicle were you driving? Yeah. I had 2 trucks. I said the other truck, and I said whoa. I mean the Escalade. I caught myself. That's the only thing that could. And then after he started badgering me, that's when I got really aggressive. I was like, he choked her today. He told me he choked her. I don't know if you remember it, but yeah, it was tough. And just like when I went in the bathroom every time, I was smoking crack. I'm nodding out while I'm testifying. The judge told me take a break. They didn't know what I was doing. They escorted me to the bathroom. They actually stood outside the door. Let me smoke crack. One time they came in, he's like, Jesus Christ, are you done yet? But when I came back in, I didn't lie about being on drugs, because whether I did drugs or not did not change what he told me and what he did. No. Whether I drove a green truck, a blue truck, yellow truck, he told me that he strangled her. That was what he told me when they put me together in that little jail cell, that little meeting there. And the reason why, when I came out, they said, what did he say? What did he say? I said, he said nothing, because he told me that he tied her up. And I thought, I just drive over there, let her go, something like that.
What?
But after that, he started sending me letters and so forth, and in his own admission, and he choked her to death.
Okay, so really, it looks like we only missed one video. We're not going to go back to that one. But everything else was articles, and the surveillance, there's no sound, so no big deal. But I do depend on you guys a lot when I'm having technical issues. So if you see something, I need you guys to blow up the chat. Don't just let it go on for an hour. It's obvious that I can't tell, right? So just know that I do depend on you guys for stuff like that. It's not like I can watch the stream and put it together at the same time.
Tonight, we're hearing from a close friend of John and Michelle Stevens, angered that their killer, Austin Harriff, will not face the prospect of prison after a judge this week ruled he's not guilty by reason of insanity. Instead, he'll go to a secure mental health facility. The gruesome murders in Martin County 6 years ago, an emotional scar that never heals for the couple's family and loved ones. And WPTV's Cameron Leppinger spoke with a longtime friend tonight. Cameron?
Michael, John, and Michelle were well known throughout their neighborhood and formed a special bond with everyone they came in contact with. They loved people, and they certainly loved each other. When Debbie Borger moved to Florida back in 2006, she was introduced to John and Michelle Stevens. A loving couple, she says, who had taken her in and treated her like family.
And they were always like affectionate with each other and always having fun and so generous.
The couple's garage here on Kokomo Lane in Tequesta is where you could find Debbie on any given weekend and just about every holiday celebration.
You never went to the garage empty-handed. You either brought a dish or brought a bottle of wine, or Christmas or Hanukkah, bought decorations to add to the garage.
Unfortunately, 6 years ago, the fun times and valuable lessons learned came to a screeching halt. How did it impact you?
I just lost two of the most important people I've ever had in my entire life.
John and Michelle died after they were viciously murdered during a random attack inside that very same garage by Austin Harif, who was 19 at the time.
Thank you, Lisa. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you, Farmer, 63 Clocks, and Lisa with a big O super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate that.
A judge would later find him not guilty by reason of insanity and order him to a mental health facility, a decision Debbie is still trying to comprehend.
It was just surreal. I just couldn't believe how somebody could murder two people and attempt to murder a third, who was also a good friend of ours, and get away with it.
The wounds from the loss are still fresh, and all she has now are precious memories.
And we're never going to get that back. So what's next for me is I'm sitting here right now looking at Michelle's ashes in a jar. That's what's next for me.
That's messed up.
Every day, they're right there.
She says, that's what's next for me. Every day, looking at a jar of ashes. Sensei, no. You can email me. It's going to come to the same phone. A lot of people email me. Usually that's what happens. I'll get an email from one of my mods saying, hey, we can't hear you. And it's tough because if I only have one person in the chat that's like, hey, you got no audio, and then I stop and address it, everybody's like, well, we can hear. So I always need to see, you need to blow up the chat, like make it just completely obvious, like shut it down. Unless you guys are cool with the Charlie Chaplin. Whatevs. Whatevs. Farmer. Yeah, appreciate it. It's no biggie. I mean, it's my fault, but it's kind of your guys' fault for letting it go on for so long. Like, yeah, it's my fault that it happened, but the length, I'm putting that all on you guys. Just kidding. Let's hear from Austin Harif. Yeah, this guy's a little strange.
I'm sorry for
But
the
it breaks my heart too.
I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me. And I'm so sorry.
See, this is the part that drives me crazy. It's like he's just as confused as everybody else. It's like he wasn't even there.
And I never wanted this to happen. I'm so sorry. It's like a nightmare.
The man accused of killing a Florida couple at their home and biting the face of one of his alleged victims spoke exclusively to Dr. Phil from his hospital bed. 19-year-old Austin Harif broke down in tears as he spoke about what he remembers from the night police say he stabbed John Stevens and Michelle Mishcon as they watched TV in their garage.
And I just want to say this. When I watched this, I believe the guy. I believe this is a true case of insanity. And I think Dr. Phil does as well.
I have some memory of what happened, but I don't remember how he got into the altercation or into the fighting. I don't remember.
Do you remember her husband coming out?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And do you remember what he said?
No.
See, I think a liar would say, "No, I don't remember. I don't remember anything." You know, like they won't really understand um how that psychosis would work, right? They don't really, they just think it's like, "Oh, I wasn't there, I don't remember any of it." But this guy, he seems to be being honest about it.
Uh-huh. And do you remember what he said?
No.
And you said that you had a machete at that point. Do you remember where you got it?
I think somewhere in the garage. I think in the left corner or something. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Do you know why you picked it up?
No.
The Florida State University frat boy claims he didn't set out to hurt anyone that night. His lawyers, who were unsuccessful in their attempts to block the release of the tape, reportedly said the interview shows the deterioration of his mental health. Haroof has pled not guilty to the charges against him, which include 2 counts of first-degree murder.
By reason of insanity. Beth says, so email instead of Discord. Yeah. The Discord messes with my computer when I have StreamYard open, so I keep it closed. So if you've been trying to get a hold of me through Discord, that's probably why I haven't been responding. Just shoot me an email and it'll come straight to my phone and I won't miss it. And Farmer's been kind enough to go ahead and put that up here for you guys. Okay, so how do you prevent a case where even the killer doesn't know what happened? And that's if you guys even buy into that. Friends of the victims don't seem to. That's my whole thing, is how do you prevent this shit? How do you have the majority of people on this planet just normal, family, fun, entertainment, neighborly, community driven? How do you have a majority of humanity falling under that umbrella? And then you have this shit. People kidnapping 11-year-old girls on their way home. In Austin's case here, he went completely mad and ate his neighbor's face of second half of what looks to be a beautiful couple. It makes me crazy. I can't explain it. I don't know how you prevent it. What is it? Do we chop it up to a shark attack, lightning strike, tornado? Well, at least you have tornado warnings. Donna says, sounds like fake crying. To me, it sounded real. It sounded like a little bit of confusion, pain, maybe some medication mixed with talking to Dr. Phil, being on camera, and then trying to be honest. I could kind of see it all mixed in there. Yeah, and there's a lot more details to this case. I do have the arrest warrant. I guess we can take a look at that before we move on. Thanks, Farmer. It's a good point. If you do like it, make sure you guys share it. It's probably the best way to support my channel if you like it. And we don't claim to be anything special around here. GP says, I'm not buying it. I'm not 100% sold, but I definitely see the pain. It's just so hard. Man, it really makes me frustrated trying to wrap my mind around it. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy who hangs out in the front yard, but I used to be, when I was a younger person, and I was more sociable, bust out the 18 pack. Next thing you know, you got 4 neighbors over there and you're all just having a great time. Now imagine if one of those neighbors just comes over and decides to kill you. How in the hell are you going to ever see that coming? How do you prevent it? I wonder what kind of medication he was on. I wonder if that had a lot to do with it. Because I think medication has a lot to do with a lot of the crime that we're seeing. So Austin Kelly Hariff. Looks like 5 charges. First degree murder, attempted first degree murder. That was the neighbor. Resisting officer, burglary. Burglary? What the hell? Count 1. On or about August 15th of 2016, Austin Kelly Hariff did unlawfully with the premeditated design to effect the death of any human being, kill and murder Michelle Karen Mishcon, a human being. Count 2. Kill and murder John Joseph Stevens. See, count 3. Austin Kelly Hariff did unlawfully with the premeditated design to effect the death of any human being, attempt to kill and murder Jeffrey Michael Fisher. During the commission of the crime, did carry, display, use, threaten to use, or attempt to use any weapon, to wit, knife, in violation of Florida statutes. Says here, Austin Hariff did unlawfully enter or remain in a dwelling, the property of John Joseph Stevens and or Michelle Mishcon as an owner or custodian with the intent to commit an offense therein. And in the course of committing the burglary was armed and did become armed with the property with explosives or a dangerous weapon. Oh, that must just be how it's written. But I think it was a machete. Makes no sense. Imagine your favorite neighbors being murdered for no reason. And your other just neighbor is now in prison for that murder. I mean, how does that happen? Makes me crazy. Chorizo says you can't prevent it. It coincides with society and a lot of other factors. Anything I Like says, I was a preschool teacher and one of my children was diagnosed dangerous to society. Wow. And was put in a state hospital. He was 4 years old. I wonder if he was like a violent, psychotic person. Because I know there's some cases where kids tell their parents, like, I'm going to kill you. Like, when you go to sleep, I'm going to kill you. And then some of them actually try to do it. Recently, there was a young girl who killed her brother. She, like, stabbed him to death. think you can watch that. I don't know if it's dash cam. I think it might be police vest cam. Wanda says, you would think there would be red flags, that someone would notice mental instability of the person. I realize some people snap, but there are people that are batshit crazy. Yeah, I know that. But what about the ones that just snap or have episodes? You know, and that's another thing I think about when it comes to the Delphi case. You know, what if this fool just snapped? I just remember Robert Ives with the Delphi case saying, you know, we couldn't really establish a motive. What if there isn't one? Or it's lost in the mind of a crazy person who can't recall, like a blackout situation. Sensei says, I don't think you can prevent everything when it's mental health related. When psychosis kicks in, they don't know what is real or not. It's just so strange that a human being can become like this violent predator out of nowhere. Like, what are the rest of us supposed to do? Yeah, that's how it reads. Anything. The brick of beer. Man, I used to drink anything. Natty Ice. Yeah, I didn't care. Whatever was cheap, I'd drink it. Anything I like. Some people are just not wired right from birth. Sometimes I wonder if things happen to babies, you know, and it's just stuck in their subconscious. Like, and as they grow, they don't really understand what's going on, but now that they're gaining knowledge, their subconscious is understanding a little bit about what happened to them and is hiding it, balling it down. I think when people snap, it's that kind of coming back, you know, those skeletons just kind of making their way out, forcing themselves out to the surface. I don't know what that is. Is that what you call it? Party ball? Hey, Frederica. Good to see you. There are signs to these things. You just have to know what you're looking for. Yeah, well, I'm all ears on that one. Because I mean, I can see when somebody's strange, you know. You know, my intuition is good. My spidey senses, I guess, my gut instinct. I mean, I've had situations where I passed by people and have gotten a feeling about them and became paranoid about it. So I would go watch. And sure enough, that person was either trying to break into the vehicle or come onto the property and start snooping. I don't know if that ever happens to you guys. Shout out to Germany. What's up, Trevin Ritter? From across the pond. Hold on a second. While I got you here, Mr. Trevin Ritter from Germany. Do you know this man? He used to live in Germany. Jim Duckett. Hey, She Warrior. It's a sick, sick world out there. Yeah, it sucks knowing that. And I've learned a lot covering true crime and working with professionals and things like that. I've learned a lot. My awareness is, it's top notch. My paranoia is off the scales as well. But that's nothing new. But I still don't think it's, these things are very predictable. Now, when it comes to releasing these people who were already convicted of similar crimes, like sex crimes, these reoffenders, that's a different story. Yeah, I agree with that. True crime and other stuff. I really trust my instincts. They have come through for me throughout the years. I mean, I'm still alive. Remember, I'm a kid from the streets. Oh man, as a young kid, I seen a lot of crazy shit. Oh, looks like you guys, 63 Clocks has gifted somebody with a membership. And don't forget, on the 27th, we have a giveaway. We're going to be drawing for 3 items. So you are in luck, and you must be there to win. You must be present. We'll give you 5 minutes. We're going to spin. If it lands on your name, we're going to hang tight for 5 minutes while all your friends and everybody does their best to reach out to you. A little Facebook. Hey. Oh, She Warrior won. Welcome. Thank you, 63 Clocks. Anything says, what if they were laughing at Richard Allen, snapped, thinking they were laughing at him? They may have been laughing at him. Yeah, it's possible that he was even targeting Betsy Blair. You remember how she the way the probable cause affidavit's writ in the Delphi case makes it seem as if Betsy Blair, a witness, approaches him while he's on the bridge. And then she turns around and goes back to her vehicle. And he could have very well have just followed her. And then as he's following her, he sees the 2 young girls coming. And I think he parked it at that bench right there where you can go down to the 505 trail. I think he just posted up right there. And he may have had an interaction. According to Mike Patty, said that the girls would often film strange folks. And everybody who came in contact with Richard Allen or the Delphi suspect, according to the witnesses, said this was a very strange person. So if everybody can see that it's written all over this suspect's face that he's strange, I think there's a high likelihood that the girls may have picked up on that and wanted to catch it on film if that's something that they did, according to their family members. But now, guys, we're going to go ahead and transition over to another case. This is mostly going to be videos. We're going to jump on Google Maps for a little bit. I don't have any articles on this one. This is Lauren Heike out of Phoenix, Arizona.
New details now on the suspect in the murder of Lauren Heike.
The 29-year-old woman was stabbed to death, left on a hiking trail in Phoenix. Police discovered her body near Scottsdale Road and Mayo Boulevard last Saturday morning. Police sharing new details on the case today. The autopsy on the 29-year-old revealed she was stabbed 15 times. She had self-defense wounds on her hands and arms. Evidence indicates that she was chased through a barbed wire fence. The motive is still unclear, and the murder weapon has not been recovered. As for the suspect, 22-year-old Zion Teasley, he lived about 1.5 miles away from where the murder occurred.
Teasley is now accused of first-degree murder in the case. He's being held on a $1 million cash bond. Fox 10's Lauren Clark joins us live now with what we've learned about him. And Lauren, he did have a criminal past. That's right. In fact, at one point facing up to 13 felonies. And that's certainly very jarring when you hear that at first. But once you start digging into the court records, you get a little bit more of a clearer picture. This essentially stemming from a string of robberies happening at 2 local Circle Ks where reportedly, according to court.
Trevin Ritter from Germany. I've seen the pics, but not familiar with the story. Yeah, apparently he spent a lot of time there and lived in Germany for some time. His son still lives there.
Records, Teasley would take things like Google Play cards. He would also take tobacco and beer and even money from the cash register. And according to those records, he also served some time behind bars and was on probation at the time of his arrest.
The killer responsible for Lauren's death is in custody.
That suspect, say officers, is Zion William Teasley, as documents and records reveal a glimpse into the 22-year-old's criminal past, including previous charges for robbery, kidnapping, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Those stemming from a string of 7 thefts occurring repeatedly at 2 Circle Ks between the dates of May 15th to July 4th of 2020. Documents say Teasley would often inform clerks that he was committing a robbery, jumping behind counters and directing them to put hundreds of dollars on Google Play cards. On one occasion, documents say Teasley pointed a gun at a clerk. He was arrested shortly after. Teasley pled guilty and after taking a plea deal, served time from July 2021 until November 2022. In his pretrial services court report, he was only given a 2 for his new criminal activity score. As questions remain, a community is mourning the death of a young life taken too soon.
Our community can breathe easier knowing that this suspect will not be able to harm anyone else. But that does little to ease the pain for Lauren's family. This is not a time for celebration.
So how many of you are familiar with this case? I know we covered it a little bit previously on my channel. Farmer says, if the girls were known to video weirdos, then Richard Allen had his own show, because creepy old weirdo on a bridge fits. I think so. May have been a character. Trevin says, I'd love to see the rest of Liberty's video. I think there might be some violence on there. I think one of the girls might be attacked or grabbed in a violent manner. Very similar to Carlie. How he grabbed her arm like that. I can't help but think it was very similar to that. Kind of gives you chills if you think about it. Lisa says, I've been toying with the idea Richard Allen was jealous the girls were supposed to meet somebody else. Yeah, I mean, that goes to my gut instinct of when it comes to Abby and Libby, I don't think that they were targeted through Anthony Shots. I think that there was a prior inappropriate relationship, and the Anthony Shots account was just used to glean information from Libby or the girls to see if their intentions were still to come forward about that relationship. But that's all speculation, so don't go around. Hey, what's up, Mel? Good to see you. Another good channel, Cold Truth. All right, anything? Good luck. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, they actually have security footage. Let's keep going. Yeah, this guy's a real
about
creeper.
the efforts that went on over the last several days to bring 22-year-old Zion William Teasley and place him under arrest last night. It was an incredible effort. So many people worked countless hours on this case, and this arrest came about because of just incredible partnerships that we have here at the Phoenix Police Department.
Yesterday, we were able to develop probable cause for the brutal murder of Lauren Heike, and at approximately 6 o'clock in the evening, her killer was taken into custody. A week ago, Lauren Heike went for a hike along the Reach 11 Trail in North Phoenix. Without provocation or pre-incident contact, Lauren was brutally attacked. with a bladed object and died due to her injuries. I believe Lauren fought off her attacker and was able to flee, but her injuries were just too severe. Lauren's murderer encountered Lauren while she was walking east on Princess Drive. I'm sorry, Lauren's murderer was walking east on Princess Drive while she was walking south on Allied Way. He followed Lauren onto the trail.
And this is a pretty decent neighborhood here. You're surrounded by upper class apartments, the suburbs. It's not very quote unquote ghetto, that as we would refer to it here in Phoenix. So, and he lived there. He wasn't passing through. The suspect was lived right there.
And after a short time, he attacked her. We scoured the scene in the surrounding neighborhood. We collected several items of evidence and several hours of video. As a result, we were able to develop a forensic profile on our suspect, additional images
DNA
identifying our suspect, cell tower evidence placing him in the immediate area, and other factors. Our suspect was quickly located in an apartment not far from the scene, and during the service of a search warrant, he was taken into custody. The suspect was interviewed and later booked for the murder of Lauren Heike. Our job is not finished, and our teams will be working in the coming days and weeks to gather and analyze additional evidence to support the prosecution. Like the chief, I ask our community to pray for the family of Lauren Heike as they travel the road ahead without Lauren.
Way too many. Now, how could she have prevented this? You can't prevent a bear attack, right? You can't. If you're hiking through the woods and you come across a grizzly bear, there's not much that you can do. Unless you have bear mace, a gun. But let's say you don't. There's not much that you can do if you're all alone. Is that what we're dealing with here? Are these guys completely inhuman? Yeah, take care, True Crime. Thanks for your participation today. Appreciate it. Caricature. My daughters are flying to Phoenix for Christmas to see family, and I was already nervous. Just such a big city. It's a dangerous city too. A lot of crackheads. A lot of illegals. A lot of crime. There's a lot going on here. And just your normal big city stuff. A lot of sex trafficking here. Cold Truth said, I watched this documentary last night about a killer. It made me think of disassociation. Could be a reason Richard Allen was able to carry on business as usual until he was caught and had to face what he did. Yeah, almost like a deep denial. If I can hide it over here, somewhere deep in my mind, in my subconscious, it's almost like it wasn't me. Yeah, I'm big on the Second Amendment, Farmer. I always said, well, actually, I don't know if I can say that on my channel. It's weird how little triggers can affect your algorithm. Trevin says, I wish people didn't need guns, but I wish she had one in some training. Yeah, I mean, we all wish you didn't need them, right? And it's like if you could somehow, what's that song? What does it say? Fly all guns at once to space and explode them in space or something. Born to be wild. Fly so high. Never wanna die. Something like that.
Responsible for Lauren's death is in custody.
Phoenix police shedding light on how they were able to find the man suspected of killing Lauren Heike less than a week after her body was found.
Lauren was brutally attacked with a bladed object and died due to her injuries.
Homicide Lieutenant James Hester says last Friday, as Lauren was on a hike along the Reach 11 trail in North Phoenix around 10:30 in the morning, 22-year-old Zion Teasley attacked her from behind, stabbing the 29-year-old 15 times.
I believe Lauren fought off her attacker and was able to flee, but her injuries were just too severe.
According to court records, cameras near the trail show Teasley walking in the same area of Heike, ending up on the same trail just minutes apart. They say cameras later show Teasley running back and forth on the trail close to where Heike's body would.
See, this is what I remember hitting the news. When it first happened, they were looking for this person. Now, apparently he has on like a mask, like a medical mask.
Be found 24 hours later.
Our detectives have been working tirelessly around the clock.
Those detectives linking Teasley to the crime through a DNA match, examining one of Heike's shoes discarded on the trail. They also say they pinged his cell phone to the scene
DNA
of the
from
crime.
the shoe.
Records show Teasley had a plane ticket booked to Detroit Thursday night, but before he could flee the state, he was arrested at his home less than 2 miles from the scene
Gotcha.
of the crime.
Zion William Teasley.
Good job,
Teasley
fellas.
was released from prison in November of last year after serving less than a year and a half behind bars for committing a spree of armed robberies at Circle K's in the Valley. Records show he met with his probation officer the morning of May 3rd after Heike was killed.
Our community can breathe easier knowing that this suspect will not be able to harm anyone else, but that does little to ease the pain for Lauren's family.
And Teasley is being held on a $1 million cash bond. In his interview with police, they say he identified himself as the man seen on that trail camera. They say he also said if he were to do something like this, it would not be premeditated. Guys?
Bianca, look, people are going to look at Teasley's.
So in this case, you have a lone wolf, right? Imagine if he didn't get caught and you're looking at the case facts, you're going to say, what, maybe she was ambushed. Maybe she was targeted. But he was just a lone wolf out there. No reason to do what he did, but yet he did it. Why? No Hollywood movie script, no Anthony shots, no runes. Just Occam's razor. A repeat felon who was on the trails at the same time as the victim. With no real motivation whatsoever.
Heike's death. It's rattled the North Phoenix community. It rattled the whole community, frankly. Irene, she hiked that area frequently, and it was a place that was pretty
Exactly,
busy
caricature.
and well frequented.
Exactly.
Well, John, that's absolutely right. Good evening. This is the area where 29-year-old Lauren Heike was found. According to neighbors, you can see there are some flowers out here as well in the area where they say her body was found. And to give you some perspective, if you look up there, just how close this area is to a very nice residential area here in the North
It's a good
Phoenix
area.
community. And then if we want to take a look over here too, Justin had mentioned in his story some of that barbed wire that she was chased through barbed wire, just how close that is to where she was found. This is all over this hiking trail out here. And now that her accused killer is behind bars, we spoke to a lot of the neighbors, people who live in this area, hike this area. They say today they are breathing a sigh of relief.
It's heartbreaking. It's scary.
Hikers and residents in North Phoenix have been on edge for the last week.
Thank you so much, Trevin Ritter. Appreciate the super sticker. Thank you.
Seeing how close it was to, a residential neighborhood, it's just, wow. It's pretty terrifying for sure.
Here on the trail where 29-year-old Lauren Heike was found dead. Heike's accused killer, 22-year-old Zion Teasley, arrested at a Scottsdale complex last night. Case, what was your reaction when you found out he was caught?
Relief, because I walk this every day.
Neighbors there say
Yeah,
the
good for
trail is a
her.
popular spot.
If you go right up Scottsdale Road here, right at the Princess, there's access to that trail system. So I know a lot of the residents here take their dogs up there and walk up there themselves.
Many locals were nervous leaving their homes before the arrest in an area they generally considered safe.
Very disheartened. I actually moved to this area because of the safety. Kind of a sigh of relief, yes, to know that he's
I
not
agree,
still out there.
Patricia.
Now that Teasley is behind
Second
bars,
Amendment.
neighbors' thoughts turn to Heike's family.
I can't imagine what her family is going through right now. Thoughts and prayers are with her.
And there are signs out here on that trail where Heike was found dead, warning people to not walk by themselves, avoid suspicious activity, along with some information about what happened to Heike out here, urging people to use extra caution. Absolutely a devastating story, definitely rocking this community. I'll send it back to you, John.
There's just no, like, this is something that just should never have happened. I mean, look at this guy. Like, what the hell were you thinking? He's not some homeless guy. He looks healthy. It's like pure hatred and anger. All right. Let's go to Google Maps here. I think I have it already bookmarked. Get a better look than this little screenshot here. So just bear with me a moment. Okay, so I have it bookmarked where he was arrested. And I mean, this looks like a nice apartments here. These apartments are surrounded by upscale residential. So at the time of her murder, these homes weren't built yet. It was just the roads, and it was kind of plotted out. And the trail that she was on, you can kind of see it here. Kind of runs along the edge. It's pretty long. Goes all the way over here. And I think it begins right here somewhere. So her body was found right in this area. And the suspect lived right here in these apartments. So when we transition over to Rachel Morin's case, I want you guys to keep that in mind. And how this guy was a criminal. Repeat offender. Thrill kill. So I wonder if he was walking home. Remember that theory I had when it came to Rachel? Because of time, I think we're just going to jump right into that. So this is a video I did of me on Google Maps. So this will make it quicker. Just zoom a little bit forward right here. So I talked about these apartments here and how somebody was probably on their way home. Because what happens is if you follow this trail in its entirety, when you get to the end, there's more apartments and homes. There's even a few homes on the way in a neighborhood that you can cut through to. So I think that strengthens my theory. Remember I said somebody could have been watching from maybe right here, from one of these balconies or from one of these homes, because this is the parking area when you come to the trail. So she would have pulled up here and would have been walking. So he could have been stalking her or just really on his way home. So I think if anybody's going to recognize Rachel's killer, I think it's going to be somewhere in between the residential area on this side of the trail and somebody on the opposite side. I think that that's going to be the key. I think focusing in on this location here, if we're gaining any insight from what we're learning from these other cases, I think that's what we're looking at here. In regards to the Rachel Morin case, I think they're on the trail of somebody here. They've been going to Chicago. They've been going to Washington. We know the case out of Los Angeles. Let's see. We'll watch a couple videos here. This was a... damn, we're running out of time.
I never walked it myself.
For Michael Gabrzeski,
I told my stepdaughter, I said, look, it's not going to be laying out in the open.
the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air, uncharted territory.
So this is a trail I just showed you.
Tucked away somewhere.
But the former National Park search and rescue officer has extensive experience tracking down missing people.
So basically, it's my
Thanks, V.
passion to bring closure to that family by bringing her back and not having them wonder what happened.
Following reports, 37-year-old
That does
Rachel
gotta be
Morin
torture.
left for a walk and never returned. Gabrzeski and his stepdaughter taking off on a search rooted on instinct.
I just kept seeing tunnels in my mind. I don't know why, but I just kept seeing tunnels.
Despite law enforcement swarming the area for almost a full day, Gabrzeski's stepdaughter locating the body in about an hour. The deadly discovery.
Once we got down there and I started seeing them tunnels, I started getting goosebumps.
Made in a tunnel drain not far from the trail's main entrance.
I saw a terrible mess.
Gabrzeski's visions meeting the reality of a gruesome scene.
There's not going to be an open casket, I can guarantee you that.
He says Morin's body found in a
awful.
pool of blood, suffering severe head trauma, an injury he believes could be the result of a rock.
My daughter
Pure
said that
violence.
there was a big rock down there that was all caked in blood.
I understand many of you want answers, and we do too.
The latest update from the Harford County Sheriff's Department declining to mention how Morin died and not yet naming a suspect. This as Morin's boyfriend quickly taking to social media, proclaiming his innocence. Richard Tobin writing, quote, "I love Rachel. I would never do anything to her. Let the family and I grieve."
I mean, it could have been his way of grieving,
And they have DNA too.
but
Definitely not
it's
this guy.
about you. It's about her. It's about bringing her home. And somebody's mother, somebody's daughter. She left behind 5 children.
It's not about him, but it is about his cooperation. When you're the boyfriend, the spouse, the family member, you're going to be closely looked at first. You need to help to eliminate that. Whatever you need, blood, hair, polygraph, whatever. Let me help get that out of the way. Right? Only guilty family member is going to be like, I don't believe in polygraphs. I don't, this and that. If you're innocent, you're innocent. And I know that some people are falsely accused and some people do go to jail, but if you're innocent, you're innocent, guys. Now, wrong place, wrong time. That's something different when you have all these coincidences stacking up and some things you can't explain away that lead to a false conviction like that is extremely tragic. But when you have family members, there's absolutely no reason why you're not giving up DNA, hair, alibi, polygraph. You should be doing that quickly so that they can push you aside and get on to the real hunt. So I wonder if there's any similarities to the Heike case. I mean, they feel the same to me. I feel like it's the same MO. And you might have a experienced criminal who hasn't been caught, right? They have his DNA, but it's not on file. They're tracking somebody down. Let's take a look at the suspect in that case. This is frame by frame. So I just separated every frame here. Supposed to be a Hispanic male. I think you can expect the light that is coming from this Ring camera to be playing some tricks on you a little bit, playing some tricks on your eyes. It's got some kind of necklace shining in the light. Seems to have a big nose. Unless that's just the shadow from his arm. But I feel like I can see a little bit of his nose. He's got that Julia Roberts thing going on. No, I don't think he's missing an ear. They look pretty big right here. Looks like a bat. Tiny video DNA. And I think they're on this guy's trail. I think they might know who he is. He might be on the run. I hope they catch this son of a bitch. Sensei, outstanding show tonight, Sleuth. You've gone above and beyond, raising all these cases. Great mods in chat. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Thank you, Sensei. I owe it all to you.
Do not train to be merciful. Do not train to be mercy is for the weak. Mercy is for the weak. Here on the street, in competition. In competition.
If a man confronts you, he is your enemy. If he is your enemy, he deserves no mercy. All right. I guess we're just going to go over. So I told you guys 2 hours, but I mean that we just don't. We're going to go way over that. So here's a map I put together. So the security footage is out of LA, where the suspect apparently forced his way into a home and assaulted a young girl. Now the DNA matched to what happened to Rachel in Maryland. But apparently they questioned people in Chicago and Washington. I mean, why is it so spread out across the whole United States? And they also appealed to the Hispanic community. They made some flyers in Spanish. Hey, what's up, Michelle? Welcome. Here's an article I have. 2 months have passed since authorities say Rachel Morin was murdered on a popular hiking trail, but the Maryland mom of five's killer is still on the loose. Morin's brother, Michael Morin, told News Nation host Dan Abrams that there has not been much movement in the case recently. There haven't been any new developments, Michael said later, adding, "It's very, very frustrating." Hartford County Sheriff Jeffrey Gowler told News Nation host Ashley Banfield that authorities have questioned someone in Washington, D.C. in connection to the case. The investigators were working a lead. This was not the result of a tip. This was a result of evidence related to the crime, leading our investigators into the D.C. metro area, where they interviewed an individual relevant to this investigation. It is not a suspect, but hopefully somebody who can point us in the right direction to identifying that person, Scholar said on Banfield. Remember, they said the same thing about the bridge guy. We just want to talk with him. He's not a suspect. We just want to know if he saw anything. We promise. That didn't work. This is near the area where they found her. And you can see the highway right there behind her. Later, Trevin. Thank you for the donation and thanks for your participation. Take care of yourself. Shout out to Germany. Yeah, I think they're on to him, 63. I think they might have his trail. Godspeed. That's all I can say. Here you can kind of get a better idea of the area. Okay, so right down here, if you follow that path, it goes under the highway and directly into another residential area. So was he walking home from work? Was he walking to work? Was he coming from a home of a friend? Had a rough night? Was extremely irritated about something? This is where she was found. And you have some homes here. And a lot of these homes that were kind of close by, not the ones that are underneath the tunnel and across the freeway. These ones, there was a lot of renovating going on. Thank you, CJK. Yeah, I was due. I have a lot of time now. I think we'll do another long one tomorrow. It's a good thing about the holidays is vacation time. He is a sicko, Frederica. And he's a repeat sicko. So the victim in LA is extremely lucky to be alive. See, I think a lot of these predators, I think they evolve and they get worse. In their mind, they're considering it getting better. But I think they get more violent. They see all the mistakes that they made the last time, right? So those tunnels go under this freeway. I might have a video of the actual trails. We'll watch it more towards the end here. Hold on. So I want to try to find the point where I believe he ambushed her. No, so that's where you go under the highway. I went too far. Sorry, guys. We'll watch it from here. So at some point, the trail kind of whips back around. And I think that's where he was able to ambush her. Especially if he was stalking her. Mr. Cold Truth. Takes off 6 weeks at Christmas every year. It's a lot of... Yeah, it's nice. I love it. Okay, now this might be it right here. You got it, Frederica. Thanks for hanging out. So as you can see, it's pretty long. Couple benches, random benches like Delphi. You got that, farmer. That's funny. Handle your business. I don't think I went back far enough. We'll watch it to the end and then I'll... Yeah. Let's go back further. Better go get those smokes. Baby asked for 12 lemons. Take care, farmer. Be safe out there. Okay, here it is. Pretty sure this is the point. Yeah, here it is. All right, let me back this up here. You see that? You see how it just kind of whips around? Okay, now if he's following her, he can cut right through here. Let's say he's familiar with this path, and I think he is. If he used this as an ambush point to cut her off, he could have walked right through here. She would have kept on walking, and by the time she came around this corner, he would be waiting for her right here. Now, remember, her body was found not too far from here. So she would continue walking this way, and he's cutting through already. He's already in front of her. So she's walking oblivious. Notice this trail here. I think this is where he ended up forcing her. Down, I think this is like a bike trail, maybe like an off-road bike trail, or maybe to that residential area not too far away. There's homes right back here as well. So in between where she was, in between this location and those homes is where she was found. So I believe he was already in front of her as she was turning this corner. So when she turned this corner, there he is right there. He might even be waiting in this area right here. And as she continues on, I believe this is where he approached her. He may have just gone down in this direction. Or even maybe down this trail here. But she was found right in these trees back here. So now let's go back to the map. I just wanted to give you guys a visual on that. Okay. So the part of the trail that kind of whips around that we were just looking at, and there was a trail that kind of comes off in this direction. That's most likely for these folks, right? Anybody who might be walking through. You'll cut through, get on the trail, and you'll make your way through those woods. Say hi to Mom. She had the pre-freak out. She sounds like a proactive woman. Like, I'm going to have the pre-freak out so I don't have the real freak out later. Bitch sticks. That's funny. I remember hearing that too. What's up, Olivia? Any possible descriptions of this guy? No. I mean, we have that side view of him. That's about it. And we can take a look at that again. Here's the sketch I made. This is what I see. Sorry. But I could be off on the nostrils. It could be some shadow games going on. I think this was Pat Brown's profile. Behavioral traits: narcissistic, lacking empathy, manipulative, pathological liar. Some character traits to look for. And then here's part of the footage we did not show. Him kind of going down the stairs. Kind of see the cell phone lit up through his pocket. We all have. These are just some of the cases that for some reason have a weird correlation for me. I feel like one is telling us something about the other. But because of time, I do want to get into the Golden State Killer and all the fingerprint technology, hair analysis, and the modus operandi, signatures and staging, and then the stuff that I found on Richard Allen. So even though I said 2 hours, it's probably going to be more like maybe 3.5. Same killer from that trail, yes. The Rachel Morin suspect. Val says, let's go. I told you guys I cleared my calendar. All right. So we're going to start with this Golden State Killer.
Clues. You just have to know where to look for them, and you have to understand what they mean.
The Golden State Killer often took driver's licenses, identification cards from the victims, and also personal items such as the...
Okay, now why do that? Okay, you're a killer. You've just committed this murder. You don't want to get caught. Why is that not enough? Why do you need to take a trophy? Because you want to relive the crime.
Their jewelry.
And I believe he would have them, even to this day.
We call them souvenirs or trophies. Offenders like this would take these items so when they're not committing the crimes, they can think about what they've done and still be sexually gratified. That's very
It's all about
significant.
sexual
because
gratification.
if we can find these items, we can find the Golden State Killer.
Okay, now what's causing that need for like some kind of sadistic sexual pleasure? Is this something that stems from childhood? I mean, we really need to get to the core of the issue here.
Items like 2 gold cufflinks with the initials MR. And then in terms of necklaces, 2 of them had heart-shaped pendants attached.
Thank you, Beth.
He will look at it this way. Nobody is as smart as I am. They'll never figure out who I am. I have nothing to worry about. Even though, if they're found, they could end up putting him on death row.
What do we say all the time, guys? The same thing that causes these predators to kill is the same thing that gets them caught in the end.
He'll keep them. But I also think it's possible that with some of the items, including the jewelry, he may have given to someone, to a girlfriend or a wife.
I would too, Culture.
And it's very erotic for him to see her wearing it, because then he can relive how he got it.
She knows her shit too. All right, this is a pretty long one. This is about 20 minutes. This is Paul Holes. Remember, this is the guy that broke that case wide open and also was in Delphi like 3 weeks before the arrest of Richard Allen. No, 3 weeks before the search Wabash River search, and then the eventual arrest of Richard Allen. So maybe he was the one that told
There's
him.
two primary.
Maybe he was the one that said, "Hey, you guys need to go through all the old tips, all the old files, not just specific things." Maybe he consulted them.
Reasons. First is, now that we've identified D'Angelo, he was 31 when he started the East Area Rapist phase of the attacks, June 1976 up in Sacramento.
June 1976. He was 31 at the time?
31. So he's older. Many people thought that he was either an 18-year-old to a 22-year-old type offender at that point. He's 31. When he kills Janelle Cruz, he's 41. So this is now getting into the older range for these serial predators. And that is a range when you start to see the frequency of attacks to
Make me some she-warrior.
with these guys, Gregory Sanchez and Sherry Domingo. He kills Gregory Sanchez and Sherry Domingo, and then we have nothing for 5 years until he kills Janelle Cruz. He gets into a physical fight with 6'3" Gregory Sanchez. And I believe that interaction scared him. We see the same thing with Dennis Rader, who's BTK, who went into a house only expecting a female, and Dennis Rader there's a male in there, her brother. He gets into a fight with this guy, and he walked away, and during his confession, he said, I could have lost that fight. I could have been hurt. I could have been caught, or I could have been killed. And I don't want any of that to happen. Plus, I was getting older, and I realized I wasn't as physically capable. So Dennis Rader said, I was done. And he never committed another crime after that we know of. I think Golden State Killer possibly had the same reaction after getting confronted with Gregory Sanchez.
That was interesting.
We don't have anything for 5 years. And then what we do have is him bludgeoning 19-year-old Janelle Cruz to death in her bed. There's no male present in that house, which for the last part of his series, that was his preference, is to have a couple there. So I think he is purposely avoiding a male in that last attack.
But 5 years went by between Domingo and Janelle. What do you think may have caused him to revisit?
A stressor in his life. We know his wife was pregnant with his middle child, 7 months pregnant. It's just so happened.
Okay, I want you guys to pay close attention to the way he profiles this killer here, the Golden State Killer. Because I use the same technique when it comes to the Delphi case.
Now, what do you think may have caused him to revisit?
A stressor in his life. We know his wife was pregnant with his middle child, 7 months pregnant. It just so happens that for Domingo Sanchez, she was pregnant with the oldest daughter. So for the oldest daughter, wife is pregnant. He kills Domingo Sanchez. 5 years go by. Wife is pregnant with the middle daughter. He ends up killing Janelle Cruz. Those are stressors.
It's like financial issues, whenever, if you're one of those types of people who can't stand like your spouse making more money than you or something like that, it might cause you to feel weak. Right. And we know with Richard Allen, and I like to look at Paul Holes for guidance when it comes to profiling. Not that I'm qualified by any means, but that's who I look to a lot for, because it makes a lot of sense. And he points out how he was guilty of confirmation bias. He's on it. To thine own self be true, right? So he goes through the steps to make sure what he's doing is as factual as possible. And it makes me think about Richard Allen losing his brother, Kathy talking about a monster hacking her brother's account, his daughter getting married and moving out of the house shortly before the murders took place, towards the end of 2016, her getting married. So think of that financial stress there, and your wife's probably not working if she's taking care of your mother-in-law now, because that was the task of the brother who just passed away. So it's like one tragedy that snowballs, really. And financially, some people could take that as they're losing control, losing power. So for Richard Allen, if this was all about power for him, that could have been his way of regaining the power.
In his life, why he's in Irvine in 1986, why Janelle Cruz, that's a question that I have no answer to at this point in time.
I don't know if he was rolling at the time when you brought it up, but what happened with the last couple, the Domingo couple, where
No, but I do
you
like
think
John
that
Douglas.
caused him to stop?
So in that case, the offender, the Golden State Killer, goes into the house. Gregory Sanchez, based on a crime scene reconstruction, is already up. He's got a flashlight, and he's now face to face with this offender.
Me too, CJK.
The offender shoots Gregory Sanchez in the face, and a bullet enters Gregory Sanchez's left cheek and exits out behind his ear. Non-fatal wound, but most certainly would stun Gregory Sanchez.
Lucky.
After Sanchez drops, the killer goes and starts interacting with Sherry Domingo on the bed, and then Gregory Sanchez basically reanimates, regains consciousness. Now the offender and Gregory Sanchez are in a physical fight. This is face-to-face combat in which the offender ends up getting the upper hand.
What's up, Redfoot?
And ultimately bludgeons Gregory Sanchez to death. However, Gregory Sanchez was very physically imposing relative to the offender. Gregory Sanchez is 6'3". The offender is 5'10", 5'11". So I think that our offender possibly got scared. He got into this physical battle with a guy that was bigger than him, and he walked away from that crime scene going, I could have been hurt, I could have been killed, I could have been caught, and I don't want any of that to happen. And so we don't have any known attacks after that. Just a theory. Maybe there's some attacks during that 5-year gap between the Domingo Sanchez case and Cruz, and then that theory might not hold up. But right now, that's my best theory why we have that 5-year gap. Some people thought he was in custody during that 5-year gap. But then we recently found out that in October of 1982, he called a previous victim when she was at work in Denny's in Rancho Cordova.
Every year, Arizona homeowners pour thousands of dollars into repairing their aging AC units.
All those done area in 1982 after he had committed all those attacks down in Southern California except for Janelle Cruz.
You're saying he called a previous victim while she's working at Denny's?
Yes.
Wow. And
That's
which
scary.
was this a victim, a rape victim? Obviously.
See, and there was a rumor going around about the Delphi case that the killer had contacted one of the victims late at night and was saying some real eerie shit to them. So I'm wondering if Richard Allen actually did that. We know Rex Heuermann did that. Who was another killer who did that? Where they would call and they would torment the families of the victims.
The rape victim who's alive. What am I thinking?
She was sexually assaulted in 1977, and 5 years later, he calls her when she's working at Denny's in Rancho Cordova.
Oh, so you mean 1982, not 92.
I'm sorry, 1982. Yeah, so that victim was sexually assaulted in 1977, and in 1982, he calls her
Real crime
while
profile.
she's at work at Denny's in Rancho Cordova. He is back in the Sacramento area, even though he's committed all but one of his Southern California attacks at that moment in time. One of the reasons why I've always thought this guy is Sacramento-based and was always Sacramento-based. He was always coming back up to Sacramento, even though he's moving out and attacking in the Central Valley, attacking in the East Bay, attacking in Southern California. His home base is Sacramento area.
What was that indicator other than him calling someone and back in Sacramento?
The indicator is he had to see her at work. So he's not out of state, and he couldn't guess that she was working at Denny's. She had no association with Denny's when he attacked her in 1977. And so how did he know she was actually at work?
I wonder if he was following her or stalking her.
I've seen her there. He either followed her from her house. Her
Yeah.
house was at a different location.
Or just went there and
than at
seen
the
her.
time of when she was attacked 5 years prior. I believe the most likely scenario is he walked into that Denny's to get breakfast, to get lunch, to get dinner, saw a previous victim, and couldn't help himself and had to make a phone call to terrorize her.
There you
So
go.
do you think in all of his
Makes
victims,
sense.
whether it be murder or rape, that he took the time to know who these people are? Because it's not like he broke into a house because the window's open or a door's open.
No, there are some victims of opportunity. I believe most of his victims, he understood who they were, especially after the fact. Now, going into the attack, he would have watched them. He would have understood their patterns. He may not have known their names at that point in time. He frequently, during the course of the sexual assault, when he's going in, once the victims are
Nedra says serial killers are beyond evil. Sometimes I wonder, they're almost possessed or not even human.
bound inside the house, he typically would go to the woman's
Something
purse,
else.
dump it out, and you'd see IDs, her driver's license pulled out. He stole multiple driver's licenses, by the way, of his victims, but he would read their name, and then when he'd go back into the room, he would make sure to call the victim by her first name, which caused that woman to go, he knows me. How does he know me? But then they would start thinking after the fact, oh, he saw my name on the driver's license, because he was trying to get them to think that he knew them from some other previous interaction. So some of the victims most certainly
He's deep in the psychology of this guy. I love it.
Or he learned about them during the course of the attack and then remembered that afterwards so he could call them and torment them later. I do believe that there are some victims that he had a prior interaction with. He interacted with these victims, whether it be the female, whether it be the male, where he is somebody that they have talked to or bumped into, and whatever that interaction was enough for him to decide, I'm going to make them a victim.
You think there could be at least another homicide added to the Golden State Killer, correct?
Well,
There's 12.
When
Probably
you
a
look
few.
at the Golden State Killer series, we know that we have potentially the double homicide with Brian and Katie Maggiore in February 1978 up in Sacramento. And then we have the 6 homicide cases.
Caricature says, agree 100%. I think some people are possessed by what I don't know. I mean, in Carlie's case, what would cause this guy? He doesn't know her. He just got off work. He's just driving down the street. He's going home. He should be happy. But no, instead of going home, he ruins his own life and destroys the life of so many other. Why? And then in the case of that one guy who went and killed his neighbors, it's like he wasn't even present. So it's like these guys are possessed.
The double homicide with Brian and Katie Maggiore in February 1978 up in Sacramento. And then we have the 6 homicide cases with 10 victims in Southern California that are absolutely committed by the Golden State Killer. Now that we've identified D'Angelo, we have to include the possibility that he is also the Visalia ransacker. And that was one of the big questions that was actively debated by the investigators.
Caricature.
Is this guy the Visalia ransacker or not? Some investigators were absolutely convinced he was. Some investigators were on the fence. And to be frank, I was the one that was going, I don't think they're the same guy. But now that we've identified D'Angelo as the Golden State Killer, I think I was wrong. I think for sure he was also the Visalia ransacker. And the Visalia ransacker killed Claude Snelling in 1975. So that would be the 13th homicide that, in essence, the Golden
Claude
State Killer
Snelling.
is
That sounds
responsible
interesting.
for.
Why did you change your mind?
Claude Snelling. Sorry, guys.
Just outside of Visalia, he is attending the police academy at the College of Sequoias at the time of the beginning of the Visalia Ransacker series. That college is in the heart of all these burglaries that are occurring in Visalia that was committed by the ransacker.
Ransacker, what a name.
When the ransacker shoots Officer McGowan in December of 1975, what you see with D'Angelo is he is now moving up and joining the Auburn PD force as if he's trying to get away from Visalia, because in his mind, he knows that the gig's up down there. An officer was just shot, and law enforcement puts all sorts of resources investigating who shot this officer. And so I believe that he was, my time is short down here, and if I stay down here, I could potentially be caught for that McGowan shooting and then linked to the Claude Snelling homicide. And so he goes all the way back up to Auburn.
After only 2 years, right?
Exactly. And then starts up in Auburn. And when he moves up to Auburn, literally that very time frame is when the East Area Rapist series starts in Sacramento. So down in Visalia, he's living in one
pure
town
evil.
and committing attacks over in the town adjacent to it. When he moves up north, he's living in another town, Auburn, and committing attacks in the adjacent town, Sacramento. The pattern matches.
What was your reaction when you saw him in court Friday in a wheelchair and just, I can barely hear what he's saying?
That he is absolutely faking that. That is in no way the man.
See that's that
we
fake
know
shit.
Was seen the week prior.
Typical,
He
right
was
out
under
of the
surveillance
playbook.
for a week. We
Richard
saw
Allen,
a man
right
that
there.
was riding his motorcycle at high rates of speed on the freeway.
Yep.
He was moving around his house in a manner
Dancing
in which
like
the
a
surveillance
fish
team was reporting
at the
this
pool
guy
hall.
does not look like he's 72 years old. He looks like he's 50 years old the way he's moving around the house. His neighbors are even saying this guy was very physically capable, very physically fit. He had a bedroom that he was seen riding. So to see him wheeled into court.
What case is that, Cold Truth? Let's read this comment here. There's one from Canada that did that. He accosted 2 teens walking at night. One miraculously survived. He wrote stuff on the other girl's headstone. The living one has to be put in witness protection. I mean, that's terrifying. Why do they do that? That's pure evil right there. I feel like they get off on terrorizing others. So if you ever run into a personality where they get off on like creating anxiety in others, I would watch out for those folks. To me, I feel like you might have a predator there.
It was such a dramatic change from the man that was seen for the entire week, directly observed for the entire week before, that there's no question he is trying to play a game. This guy has always been about self-preservation. And now that he's been caught, he's trying to minimize.
Nedra says, does anybody think that Richard Allen killed before? Well, covering that case, I've had so many experts. We've seen them come forward and talk about the case, saying that there's just no way. So that's why I'm always looking for a pattern. I mean, he's innocent until proven guilty, but right now he's the prime suspect. So we always say, well, if Richard Allen is guilty, you know, or whoever is guilty for the Delphi case, which is most likely Richard Allen, is there a pattern? Is there signs that he may be responsible for other crimes? And we always look to the Jordan Silver case. Me and Frank Meister are constantly working on that case. He's making some strides right now, as a matter of fact.
His current set of circumstances by portraying himself as this feeble old man. And he's not. He's a very physically capable male that is a very dangerous individual.
100 miles per hour, you said, on his motorcycle.
That's what was reported to me. He was up to 100 miles, if not over 100 miles an hour on a motorcycle on the freeway.
No caricature.
In the week prior
I'll take a look, though.
Why did you go to his house?
Are you sure the spelling's correct?
Retired?
So at that point, he, through the research that we were doing based on the DNA, he was the one guy that still seemed to be a possibility. And so I had kicked into my traditional investigative practices of starting to learn about this person. I spoke to his former boss from Auburn PD, a chief who had fired him for shoplifting back in 1979. And that chief told me certain things that he remembered about Joe D'Angelo that caught my attention. And based on that information, I was like, okay, this guy is interesting. I wasn't like, oh, he is absolutely the Golden State Killer, but it was interesting enough that I needed to go start assessing this guy. And part of my assessment is always to see where the guy is living. I want to see his house. I want to see his yard. I want to see the cars he's driving. I want to see if there's anything that would tell me more about him and things that I might be able to observe So when I go back to the office, I have additional research I can do.
What did the chief tell you that piqued your interest?
The chief told me that during the termination process, the hearing officer, after D'Angelo was terminated, told the chief that D'Angelo threatened to kill him. And then the chief relayed and recounted a situation that during that process, after he told D'Angelo, go home, basically terminating him at that point, and the time that he's formally terminated from the city, that in the middle of the night, his daughter, the chief's daughter, walked into his room and said, Daddy, there's a man standing at my window shining a flashlight in my bedroom.
Holy shit.
The chief gets up, he runs outside. Whoever that man was gone, and there are fresh shoe impressions around the rear perimeter of his house. That is absolutely consistent with who the East Area rapist was, the Golden State Killer was. And the chief was telling me, I firmly believe.
Did that give you guys chills? I'll run that back.
That during that process, after he told D'Angelo, go home, basically terminating him at that point, and the time that he's formally terminated from the city, that in the middle of the night, his daughter, the chief's daughter, walked into his room and said, Daddy, there's a man standing at my window shining a flashlight in my bedroom. The chief gets up, he runs outside. Whoever that man was gone, and there are fresh shoe impressions around the rear perimeter of his house. That is absolutely consistent with who the East Area rapist was, the Golden State Killer was. And the chief was telling me, I firmly believe that was D'Angelo. So if you've got D'Angelo threatening to kill him and showing up at his house, that was like, okay, that is absolutely consistent with the type of guy I'm looking for.
So he threatened to kill the chief?
He threatened to kill the chief during the termination process. Now, you do have that employer-employee type of, well, you do have a lot of angst as a result of that kind of action. But when the chief told me, the chief didn't know I was looking into the East Area Rapist series at that moment when he's relaying this. Well, I think this happened, and I think it was D'Angelo shining the flashlight into his daughter's room. It's like,
Ski mask incident?
Now this is interesting. If that truly was D'Angelo, that is what I would expect the East Area Rapist to do. That's how I would expect him to respond if he is being investigated.
Yeah, it made my stomach hurt a little.
Terminated from his job because he's
I
a
am getting hungry.
vindictive individual.
Yeah, didn't he shine a light on people's faces? I mean, when
He would use a flashlight when he would go in and wake a couple up and blind them, just like,
like a cop
in the police academy.
Why did you not go into his house? You were thinking about it.
I was thinking about it. I was sitting there, and at a certain point, I've been through this so many times with so many suspects that looked good, only to be eliminated by DNA. I literally had the thought, what's the likelihood this is the guy?
It seems more like revenge, Sensei.
I've looked at. I should just go.
Sensei says power and intimidation, sending a message to the chief. I don't know. I think he really planned to be successful that night and just wasn't. Daughter of a cop, she's not going to just kind of like brush it off or go investigate. She knows to go get her father and to be alert and to be aware of those types of things. So I think he went there for revenge. Fire me. Or he's like, watch what I do, trying to get his power back, because that's what, I don't know if you guys have ever been fired. I've been fired from a job before, and you feel powerless. You're like, especially when it's unexpected. You want to, and that's what a lot of these online trolls are like. You block them, and they get mad. They're already suffering from mental health issues and they're manic. So now that you block them, they're so obsessed and they don't realize that they're being childish. They lash out. They're powerless. How do they get power back? By doxing, by tormenting, bullying, and literally online stalking and doxing people. It's just a way of getting power back, but it's traits of a predator.
Knock on the door, introduce myself, say, hey, my standard thing. Hey, I'm looking into an old case. you know, can I ask you a few questions and establish a rapport, and then
Yeah, I'm going to look into
eventually
that
see
case,
if I
Terry
can
Driver.
do you mind if you give me a DNA sample? And I thought about it, and I was just like, I don't know enough about him. And that's what caused me to not go in, because it's like, well, what if? What if he is the guy?
At SRP, we're opening the door to thousands of dollars.
We're going to cut that one short. That's actually an hour interview. The link to that is in the description. Jeez, we're running out of time. Maybe we'll skip. We'll save fingerprint technology, hair analysis, MO, signature, and staging for another live stream. Let's go into the stuff that I found. Oh, and I had something on touch DNA. But you guys remember this video? Well, actually, let me pull it up. I have the link. So I know Thomas Frost and somebody else had posted this video of Richard Allen playing pool. Well, I went and looked through all the other videos, and there's another video of Richard Allen in that same pool hall. Well, here's a small clip from the original. Now, the reason that I have this clip is to show how friendly he is with this Nebergall character. So here is that video. This is on somebody's Facebook. Look how friendly they get. And who's this other guy? I almost thought it was Erskine for a little while, because I know his girlfriend worked at this bar at the time. Could that be Erskine? Chubby guy? So Nebergall puts his arm around Richard Allen, hugs him. Hey, buddy, this is my guy. And then he daps this guy. Yeah, that looks like Erskine. Can't be sure, though. The MO. Okay, so let's go to the new video I found. Same Facebook. Same bar, JC's. This one is titled The Last Pool Tournament. And it's actually somewhere in the middle. So I was just going through all the videos, seeing if Thomas and the Inquisitor missed anything, because they were the ones who originally posted the video. And it looks like they did. So I caught Richard Allen in the back here again. See him? Right there. And it looks like he's wearing the same outfit that he's wearing in some of those images. Now, let me see if I can find those. I just had it. Shit. Oh, there it is. So it actually looks like this is the same from the same event. He's got the blue shirt, which is most likely his CVS uniform, right? Has to tuck it into his blue khakis. So there he is in the background, being all friendly with all these people. According to this, it looks like he's got a ton of friends. Got a beer in his hand. He's talking to somebody. That guy kind of looks like Maxwell. The one in the back corner here. So you can kind of see how he's walking too a little bit. Well, my question is, Nedra, if he's the killer, what do you do with the trophies? I mean, I don't think he's going to part with them. I don't think he could. She Warrior says none of those people thought he was the bridge guy. I think a lot of them did think he was the bridge guy, but that the bridge guy had been cleared and that it was part of some strategy not to come out and say that that was Richard Allen. So they allowed themselves to go into a place of denial, I guess. Yes, Nedra says, I listened to an interview with someone Richard Allen worked with at Walmart, said he had creeper vibes. Yeah, I've read those interviews. He went by Ricky. They're like, is that Ricky? They were like going through their phone. If this is the same interview, this person that worked with Richard Allen was going through their phone and was like, whoa, how did I end up on an old picture of Ricky? Am I on Facebook? And then they looked at it and it was an article saying that they had a suspect in custody for the Delphi case. So they were kind of freaking out about it. Like, oh my gosh, that's Richard Allen. Cold Truth says, I need to go through these. JC's was a hangout for a few family members of mine. Scared to see them together. Yeah, that is scary. All right, guys, we are going to start winding down. I am completely out of time. Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to my guy Farmer. 63 clocks. Thank you for letting me know that there was no sound. Going above and beyond. Lisa, thank you so much. 63 clocks. 'Tis the season. And they have been giving memberships out left and right. Trevin from Germany. Welcome. Thank you for your support. And the super chat from Sensei. Thanks, Nedra. Thank you, Red Queen. Caricature. Yeah, that's most definitely Richard Allen. Most definitely. What's up, Lone Pony? All right, you guys take care of yourselves. Thank you so much. And if you're part of that replay crew, you know what to do. Drop me a comment, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And if you're already subscribed, consider becoming a member. If you don't like it, you can always bounce. We are doing a giveaway on the 27th. We're going to spin that wheel 3 times. Upgraded members, you'll get 3 opportunities to win. Everybody else, 2. Cold Truth asking about Jamie Hicks. Yes, she was in here earlier today. And somebody was worried about her yesterday, too. And she showed up momentarily. She's good. Thank you, Beth. All right, guys, you take care of yourselves. I'm going to get some food in my belly. Till next time, peace.